Hello and welcome to Enjoy English School.
欢迎来到 Enjoy 英语学院。
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Laurie.
Today and tomorrow, we are looking at a special celebrations lesson about a holiday that is a lot of fun. Now, this holiday is in Thailand, but we have had parties in Taiwan that celebrated this holiday because it's a lot of fun. Of course, we are talking about Songkran, which is the water festival. So our title today is Making a Splash.
所以呢，今天跟明天2天的文章，我们要一起来看到在全球节庆这个单元里头，文章的中文标题呢更清楚了，叫做水力全开泼水节狂欢开趴。这里的泼水节就是刚刚 Stevie 老师讲的 Songkran 啊，所以呢，我们今天跟明天赶快带着大家来看看这个非常湿但是又非常有趣的活动。
Looking at the first paragraph, every year on April 13th, the people of Thailand take to the streets with hoses, buckets, water pistols, and water balloons. Okay, so here, first of all, we have a phrase. The first part is easy. Every year on April 13th. So we know when this happens. The people of Thailand take to the streets. Now, we hear this phrase when there are usually large crowds of people that go out on the streets. It could be a holiday, a celebration, sometimes a parade, yeah. But when we say take to the streets, we are talking about everybody being out literally on the streets. And what do they go to the streets with? They have hoses. So what do they hook the hoses to? Maybe they have like some sort of can or bucket and they pump.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So hoses, buckets of water, water pistols, water guns, water pistols. And I really like the big water. We call them a water cannon sometimes because they're so big.
Okay.
They whoosh, whoosh, and it's just like whoosh, a lot of water.
Okay.
And of course, water balloons. So, Songkran, very fun holiday.
所以呢，一开始文章就非常清楚的切入正题了，讲到说呢，在每年的4月13号啊，那么呢，泰国的人的 people of Thailand， 他们会 take to the streets。刚刚呢 ，Stevie 老师已经特别介绍了这个片语啊，它指的呢，就是如同它字面上的意思讲的，人们就会走上街头。但是你走上街头，可能是去庆祝哦，有游行、有活动，或者有的时候你上街可能是去抗议啊，也可以用这个 take to the streets。那么他们上街带着什么呢？所以你用一个 with 后面去加你带的东西，他们呢是带着水管水桶、水枪还有水球呢，纷纷的一同上街。
I'm glad you mentioned, 有时候人家抗议也是会用这个。So we hear that in the news. Usually this take to the streets, we usually hear it in the news when people are protesting.
在抗议的时候。
Yeah, people took to the streets today to protest, blah, 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 blah.
对。
Yeah, so protest, P-R-O-T-E-S-T, protest, and that's a noun and a verb.
两个都可以啊，
Yeah.
可以当名词，也可以当动词，都是抗议。
Right. But back to Songkran. So everyone throws water at each other. And 真的是 throw.
对，也是
Okay?
literally.
Yeah. Everyone throws water at each other and gets soaking wet. So everyone throws water and everyone gets soaking wet. When we say soaking wet, that means like completely wet.
没错。
Okay, 100% wet. We call that soaking. Because when you soak something, like if you have some dirty clothes and you want to get them clean,
对。
maybe you'll take a bucket of water and you will, with soap or something, and you will put the clothes in the bucket and let them the word soak is the same word in this case is like 让它泡.
浸泡.
Yeah.
对.
So when we say you're soaking wet, it's just like you fell in a bathtub.
所以呢，这个刚刚解释的很清楚 ，soak 这个字本来它可以当浸泡的意思，这是它的其中一个用法。那当你的湿是已经搞到这个 get， 我们可以翻成弄的或者是搞的然后呢，你的湿是 soaking wet， 是到这个程度，有如你整个人被泡进去一样。那当然就是刚刚 Stevie 老师说的100%的湿，所以我们中文会讲湿透了那所以呢，这里讲到每个人刚刚讲的嘛，带上街头带了一堆的武器，对不对？跟水有关的武器。那每个人呢，会对着彼此来开始泼水，然后当然就会把彼此弄得湿透透。
And this word soak, S-O-A-K, is a great word to know, and I'll tell you more about that when we do the review. Next sentence, in a hot climate. Like Thailand. Thailand is very hot. In a hot climate, this, throwing water at each other, is a perfectly enjoyable pastime. Okay, when we say pastime, could be a hobby, something you do to pass the time, something you do for fun. So this is a perfectly enjoyable pastime, but there is also a sacred significance to this event. When we say something is sacred, another word we could say is holy, H-O-L-Y. And I saw Laurie using her mouth. She knew what I was going to say. Significance means there's some importance. It's very important. So there is a religious importance to this event. It's not just throwing water and having fun.
That's right. 所以呢，这里的话让我们这个稍微的认识了一下这个泼水节，因为讲到说，在一个这么热的一个气候下，这么热的天气下呢，那么呢，这个 this 它指到就是这个活动，泼水节这个活动呢，可以说是一个完完全全的，这里的 perfectly 你可以翻成绝对是完全是一个 enjoyable 的 pastime， 就是一个让人非常享受、乐趣无穷的一个消遣活动，叫 pastime。但是呢 ，there is also 也有什么呢 ？a sacred， 我们刚刚讲的是神圣的。这个 significance 就是重要性或者是一个意义的意思所以呢，对这个活动来讲呢，它也有它神圣的意义所在。
The traditional New Year in Thailand is called Songkran, which I've already said, which means the word Songkran means movement, like something moves. I did not know this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
然后呢，我们接下来看到这一段讲到说呢，这个传统的泰国的新年被称为是我们中文是翻成送干那其实当然就是从 Songkran 这个字来的。那么送干呢，逗号后面补充说明，也就是那个代表着 movement， 我们这里可以翻成运转这个意思。他等一下会解释为什么那他这个字其实是从这个梵文来的那个 Sanskrit 来的。
Yeah. So it, meaning this Songkran or this movement, it occurs, it happens when the sun moves from the constellation Pisces to Aries. Now, the sun doesn't really move through the constellation how we see it does, right? So when it looks like, the sun has moved from one constellation to another, this period of time when this happens, they call this Songkran or movement. And constellation, this is a good word to know if you like stars. Also, if you like to talk about 星座 or horoscopes, okay? Because, Pisces and Aries, they're constellations. They are also horoscope signs or zodiac signs.
所以呢，刚刚讲的这个是星座的意思。那do you want to spell that?
Okay, the proper word is zodiac. Z-O-D-I-A-C, zodiac. But your horoscope is like, because of your sign, what's going to happen today to you? Or,
那个是运势的部分。
Yeah, so
对
horoscope, HOROSCOPE, horoscope. And I know people in Taiwan love to talk about, 星座. What's your
星座运势，
sign?
对。
So I thought I would mention that.
好的，所以我们回到这个句子来看啊，讲到说呢 ，it 指的当然就是我们提到的这个 songkran 这一个 movement， 刚刚讲到的这个运转，它呢会 occurs 就是发生于什么时间，所以后面就开始讲了。那这里的 occur， 刚刚 Stevie 老师也讲了，也等于 happens 那么它发生当在这个太阳呢，它从我们的双鱼星座移动到这个牡羊星座的这个时候，就是这个我们称的松款的时间了。
Yeah. So during this Songkran period, this is the best time of year for new beginnings and personal transformation. Now, transform, you probably heard that word, transformer.
绝对有。
Right? But transformation means to change. So some sort of personal change in your life. That would be a personal transformation.
没错。
So new beginnings and personal transformation is what Songkran is about.
没错。所以呢，接下来他讲到 this， 当然就是再次的指我们送干的这个时间点。那个也是呢，这个一年当中最好的时间干什么呢 ？For 后面告诉我们了，来展开新的开始，而且呢，展开个人的一个转变，一个蜕变。我们有时候会用蜕变来讲，因为它那个转变必须是很大的，不是小小的 change，
Yeah.
也是很大的，你才会用 transformation。
Right.
那这个名词，它的动词就是刚刚这个 Stevie 老师讲到的 transform。
So, now when we're talking about this,Think about it. Songkran, throwing water at people. What does water do? It cleans things.
That's right.
Right? It washes things. So the practice of splashing water on one another, on each other, on people, is a symbol of washing away the past and making a fresh start.So just like Kuan Yin, just like our regular New Year, where a new year, we want to start new and try to be good. And, well, Songkran is about washing away the bad things in the past and starting fresh, starting clean and new. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and very interesting.
Yeah.
对，所以呢，因为用这种方式，You don't just clean yourself, you also clean other people.
Well, yeah, everybody's helping each other.
Yeah, and that's great.
It's pretty cool.
所以呢，就是不只帮自己净化也帮其他人净化，这个我觉得很有趣所以呢，这边讲到的 the practice， 这里的 practice 是名词，不是动词它也不是指练习，它指的是习俗的意思。所以这个对着彼此泼水的这个习俗这里的 on one another 就是等于 at each other 的意思我们的另外一种不同的说法。那么这样的一个习俗呢 is a symbol 就是一个象征。什么的象征呢 of 后面告诉我们，就是呢，记得这边就要用动名词了就是呢，洗净、冲掉这个过去，然后呢，展开一个全新的开始，这个就是它的一个象征。
I'm really glad you said that practice here means like 习俗 because I was going to say we could say the custom C-U-S-T-O-M the custom of doing this. So basically exactly what you said in Chinese.
对，这个字可以一起记下来，也是习俗的意思。
Okay, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with the rest of the article. Okay, looking at the next paragraph. It starts out, Songkran is famous for the incredible sight of water fights. Yeah, I love this part. Water fights in the streets. Okay, you see people throwing water at each other, shooting water at each other. That is called a water fight. Okay, so it's famous for the incredible sight of water fights in the streets. But there are many other traditions associated with the festival. So there are many other traditions that have something to do or that are, we could say in this case, they're related. R-E-L-A-T-E-D. They are related to this festival.
没错，所以我们接下来看到这一段呢，一进入他就讲到说，送干节呢，它呢，或者我们讲泼水节呢，它是以什么什么而闻名，叫做 be famous for 啊。那 for 的后面告诉我们，以什么闻名呢？以这个在街头上的这个泼水大战，叫做 water fights 啊的那个壮观的景象啊，这里的 incredible 我们有时候翻成不可置信的，这里的话我们翻成壮观是可以的 ，sights 的话是景象啊。那么呢，是以这个闻名啊，没有错。但是呢 ，there are many other traditions， 也有很多其他的传统呢，是怎么样 associated with the festival， 所以呢是跟这个节有相关的啊。这里我们看到的 be associated with something 就是与什么有关联，或者刚刚这个 Stevie 老师讲的 be related to 也是就是有关的意思。
So what other things are there? People also visit temples, make offerings to Buddha and ancestors, prepare food for monks or family, and find occasions to wear their finest clothing.So what do? They visit temples. They make offerings. What is an offering? That's something that you kind of give to a god or an ancestor. In Taiwan, we burn incense. We burn paper money sometimes. Sometimes it's food with incense. You know, these are all offerings. And just like in Taiwan, because these people are also Buddhist,They make these offerings to Buddha and to their ancestors, okay, their family who has passed on or died already. And they prepare food for monks or family. It could be monks and family, actually.
Yeah.
So the Buddhist monks, they also prepare food for them. And, of course, they wear their finest clothing, their best clothing, we could say.
所以接下来呢，那么既然提到说除了泼水节还有其他的庆祝的活动，所以当然就要来讲了，那有哪些是相关的活动呢？所以他讲到人们也会呢，第一去这个造访寺庙啊 visit temples，然后呢这里的 make 我们看到用这个动词，当你想要献出祭品啊，你能够献上一些贡品的时候呢，这个我们可以用 make 这个动词后面去接 offering 就是你拿出来的那个贡品啊，所以呢，刚刚 C 老师有讲到的这个烧香，就是这个烧纸钱之外，我们也会有一些准备一些食物啊，那个就是贡品的部分。那么呢，他们呢会把这个贡品献给这个佛祖，还有他们的祖先们啊。然后呢，同时他们也会准备食物来给这个僧侣，是 monks。然后呢，这里我也觉得是 or 或是 and， 其实是 and 的意思啊，以及家人啊，以及最后呢，要找到一些 occasions， 我们讲一些特殊的场合或者是一些恰当的机会呢，来穿出他们最好看的衣服、最好的衣服来这个呈现出来。
Everyone is on their best behavior.During the 3 days of the New Year celebrations. So everyone is trying to be the best they can. They're on their best behavior.
那这里你就学到这个片语的说法了，指的就是呢，让这个表现出自己最好的一面，呈现出自己最好的一面，在什么时间呢？在新年庆祝的这3天的期间。
Yeah. Now, we are going to talk more about this tomorrow.But right now, we're going to take a very quick break, and we're going to come back and have a small review. All right, I said I was going to talk about soak. You know, one of the things that we love to do in Taiwan, in the winter especially, is go to a hot springs, right? Well, one of the words that we use, we say, I'm going to go soak.In the hot springs tonight. It's so cold. Tonight I want to go soak in the hot springs. Well, you could say, I'm going to go to the hot springs.
对
I'm going to the hot springs. But if you want to talk about sitting there, just as I mean,
relax.
Yeah, then we could say, I soaked in the hot springs last night. And one more really quickly. we just talked about being on your best behavior. This one, your mother or your grandmother will use this. Okay, when the kids are going to church or they're going somewhere where there's a lot of people, something public, tonight you better be on your best behavior. Your grandfather's going to be there. Or at church, you better be on your best behavior.
所以呢，这边的话呢，这里的 review 里 ，Stevie 老师第一个讲的是说，我们泡温泉，其实刚好中文我们也用泡这个字所以呢，你也可以用 soak 这个动词来这个去泡温泉。那第二个刚刚讲到的是 be on somebody's best behavior 这个片语，你除了在我们这个句子文章里这样用之外，也可以像刚刚他举的例子，大人对小孩说你要乖乖的，然后你呢要这个行为表现要好，可以这样子用。
Okay, that's all the time we have for today, and we'll see you tomorrow talking more about Songkran.
Bye-bye.
第28页，全球节庆，水力全开，泼水节狂欢开趴。
Making a splash. Every year on April 13th, the people of Thailand take to the streets with hoses, buckets, water pistols, and water balloons. Everyone throws water at each other and gets soaking wet. In a hot climate, this is a perfectly enjoyable pastime. But there is also a sacred significance to this event. The traditional New Year in Thailand is called Songkran, which means movement. It occurs when the sun moves from the constellation Pisces to Aries. This is the best time of year for new beginnings and personal transformation. The practice of splashing water on one another is a symbol of washing away the past and making a fresh start. Songkran is famous for the incredible sight of water fights in the streets, but there are many other traditions associated with the festival. People also visit temples, make offerings to Buddha and ancestors, prepare food for monks or family, and find occasions to wear their finest clothing. Everyone is on their best behavior during the 3 days of the New Year celebrations.